ladies and gentlemen, this is week 5 of Miss Anime's weekly Roundup. I just want to say that I've dropped Requiem for the Rose King from the Roundup. I will still continue watching it out of curiosity, but I don't think there's enough to talk about, and frankly, I don't understand enough of what's going on to keep blogging about it. But let's get started. I don't get this. I genuinely. Okay, so like they're in the town, right? And then the part where Saru meets the demon and they start connecting, and then the demon finds out he's with the rest of the group, Sanzo's group. That was actually kind of interesting because, they could have done something with that where Saru had to choose between, the demon and the group, and he had to convince the group that the demon was not a bad person, but they didn't do anything with that, and that kind of annoyed me. And then they just went into this theater, and then they went in the theater, they're watching a movie where they went to a house, and then there's a murder, and then I don't get what I literally have no idea what this means. Is it a flashback? Is it a memory? Is it a movie they're watching? Are they in a movie? I don't get this, and I don't know what this has to do with the rest of the. I'm so confused by this. So I already knew the twist of the show going in because I looked it up on Wikipedia because I was genuinely curious. I think they're playing it way too soon, honestly. I know that shows don't like to move stuff around, but I think this might be a problem with the original original material, but I genuinely think this twist is just, it's way too soon. And honestly, it reminds me a lot of Mad Men, which I didn't really like Mad Men. I thought all the characters were awful, so I don't necessarily think that's a good sign. I do like Ho. I like his determination, and I like. I don't remember if we found out why he's so angry with Song yet, but whatever the reason, I kind of interested to see where that goes, and I like the fact that he's just so relentless that he'll just keep getting up and up until Song literally kills him. Other than that, I still hate the romance in this show. I still think it's disgusting, and once Ho dies, I'm completely done with this series. So at this point, I'm convinced that the author is just completely fucked with. I am kind of interested to see where the plot with Loa goes, but I genuinely think that the author just either he forgot about the wanting to sell the kingdom and get out of work, or he's just not bothering with it for whatever reason, or maybe his editor told him, oh, that's not going to work, you need to do something else. But it genuinely feels like this is not the same show. And one thing I absolutely hate is shows that advertise themselves with one plot, and then you go into it and it's a completely different plot. I fucking hate that. So I'm probably gonna drop this show because I'm so bored with it, and I'm so frustrated because I went into this show because the premise sounded cool. He'll do literally whatever it takes to get out of being a prince, and I was like, oh, that's an interesting concept for comedy. But it's not doing that, and I don't understand how any of this connects with that. So unless they explain it, unless they're like, oh, he's trying to manipulate her into, buying his kingdom, or, beating him so that he'll look like a bad prince. Actually, that would be an interesting plot if he was trying to manipulate, if he was trying to get it to the point where, he loses the battle either on purpose or not purpose, or just because the other army is stronger, and he wants them to say, oh, you're such a bad prince that we don't want you to be prince anymore. But every time he tries that, either his army wins or they feel bad for him, so they keep. I don't know. That would actually be a really cool concept for a show, but the show's not doing that, and I'm getting extremely bored. So if anyone remembers, I don't remember the name of it. Oh god, what was the name of it? That episode of Avatar, there was an episode of Avatar The Last Airbender, which is probably one of my favorite episodes, where Katara decides she wants to save this group of stupid people who have been captured by the Earth Kingdom soldiers, or maybe it's the fire. Well, whatever. They've been captured and they've been put on this metal ship. And she decides that what she's going to do is she's going to get herself captured. And she gets herself captured, right? So she goes onto the ship and she starts trying to rally them. And she's like, you got to get out of here. You got to get you got to fight your way out. And none of these people, they're too scared. They are way too scared. They don't know. They can't earthbend on this ship because there's no earth. It's all metal, which I actually think is a really brilliant prison design. But anyway, that's another concept. Anyway, they can't earthbend, so they all feel like, we're stuck. There's nothing we can do. We're all scared of these people. What are we supposed to do? And obviously, it ends up that, she rallies them to get themselves out of it. But honestly, this episode reminded me of that, because all of the, I forget his name, Tsugumi's, the people who lived in her bushi, her mentor, father, or the person in charge, kept telling them that they're going to go out and fight. These people are like women and children. They don't want to go out, but they're so scared of him that they will just go out and do whatever he says. And, I love the idea that she has to push them. She has to show them that if I fight, if I am willing to stand up to him, then the rest of you will be too. And I honestly think this is the first moment of the show where I actually felt impressed by it, because it would be really easy for them to let the heroes do it and let them take over and have them say, we're going to fight. But no, they let her do it. And I think that's a really cool concept. I kind of hope she joins their group because she's very cute, and I love her weapons. I love those whips. They're so cool. And yeah, I'm actually surprised by this, because it would have been really easy for them to fuck this up. I still don't know where this show is going, and I'm kind of annoyed that this show is just not going anywhere. But this is a good sign, so I'm going to keep watching, and I'm going to hope it just, goes somewhere with this. I'm not going to lie, the scene of Mila trying to ride the crab was actually really funny. And at least they've introduced the concept, they're going to go and find this mushroom. But I'm still a little bit on the fence, because they have they haven't really made this show. I don't know how to explain it. It doesn't feel put together. It just feels like, I can't really explain. This show is not connecting for me, and it really bugs me, because I wanna like it because it has some good concepts. We'll see where this goes. I get the feeling that Mila is not going to do anything. And I really hate companion characters who don't actually, serve a purpose. I think that's part of the problem for me. I hate shows that introduce a companion to just, kind of sit in the background. And hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully he actually, does something, but we'll see. So I admit that when I first heard that, what's his face? Had died, or the main character had died, I was like, no, they're gonna bring him back, because that's always how this works. But no, he's dead. At least for the time being, for as far as we know, I'm not sure he is, but as far as we know, he's dead. And according to the characters, he's dead. I don't remember his name, but I like the character they introduced at the end. I like his sass, and I like, I like how they set up that, the bases are basically, what was it? It was old buildings that were destroyed or something. It was really neat. They're using actual, what was it? It was something to do with, like, they used to be something. And now they're being used. I figured that out immediately, like instantly. I knew, oh, these are going to be the bases. But I'm surprised nobody else figured that out because, they're trying to run around, find the bases, and they can't find them. And they're like, what do we do? Because we don't know, where, where's home base? But the minute he said, oh, these buildings used to be this, I'm like, oh, those are home base. That's actually kind of neat. And I like the fact that, this game is more interactive, and it requires you to actually find the play, find not only find home base, but find figure out where the markers are, figure out how to get there, figure out how far it is. I like that. I think it's an interesting concept to make this type of baseball much more interactive, and I sincerely hope they do a lot with this because that could make things tough depending that could make things extremely hard. Other than that, pretty solid episode, and we will actually see if he is dead in the future. So, as I said last week, I'm still annoyed that this show's visions seem disconnected from the events that are actually going on, but at the very least, this one actually seems to be somewhat connected because the person behind it is connected to the drug that's been going around, and he's connected to the other gangsters. So I also kind of understand his reasonings because if I found out my something I made to help people was being used to cause drug addiction, I would be furious, and I'd want to kill that person too. I wouldn't, mind you, because this is the real world and murder is wrong. Not always, but mostly. But I'd want to kill that person too. So I completely understand wanting to kill someone who used your product or your device to cause bodily harm to people. So my question is, though, instead of blowing up a ship with a bunch of innocent people on it, why did you not just blow up their headquarters? Because their headquarters, all those people would have been aware. All those people, would have been part of the team that redesigned your product. So why not just blow up the people responsible? Why blow up so many innocent people? Because that makes you a terrorist. I am all for acting really bad people, but when you murder innocent people who don't have anything to do with it, you become a shitbag. You become a terrorist, and that's when I lose sympathy for you. And I'm glad they shot you because you are a piece of crap, and I'm glad that they kill you. But anyway, I hope that this show connects the dots at some point, but I'm not holding my breath. So I do kind of find it neat that Jean-Jacques is actually the beast. Like, I actually think that's an interesting concept. The thing is, like, I don't exactly know why Chloe wants to erase this town. Like, what is this going to achieve? What is erasing this town gonna, achieve? Like, she changes her mind and, like, solidifies this being. What is that gonna do? Like, they haven't explained entirely what this thing is. We know it's like a curse, but we don't know. It feels like the show is just kind of throwing events at us and hoping they stick. And hoping we're not just like, okay, but what does this mean? What does this do? Maybe it's just that I'm not paying attention and that they told us because, I kind of dropped off this show before Astolfo showed up because I was getting extremely bored. So maybe they explained it, but as far as I can see, I don't know what this, I know it's a curse, but I don't know how does solidifying it do anything to it. How do you do that? I hope the show explains it because I'm very confused right now. But as long as Astolfo sticks around in the show, I might keep watching it because he interests me. But other than that, it's not terrible. I'll give it that, but it's kind of on the middling side. So I think this is the first show I've seen in a long time that where the reason the show contrives for ecchi is not stupid. Like, it's not. It actually respects its characters enough to, give a legitimate reason. Because if you've ever been into cosplay, I haven't, but I know people who have. Those things are stuffy. They are tight. They are sweaty. And at some point, you will have to take it off because it is not comfortable to walk around in for hours at a time. So I give them credit for that. I give them, actual genuine credit. And he doesn't, like, in a lesser show, she'd be like, oh, that's not enough. You have to take it all off. But no, this show actually, treats her like a person, and it doesn't just treat her like a sexual object. And I'm extremely impressed by that. I also am extremely impressed by the fact that, this show is actually very well written. So I'm surprised that, she realizes that he likes her. Because he inadvertently calls her beautiful. And, well, he doesn't inadvertently, he calls her beautiful. And she realizes that that means he likes her. And it's clear. And she knows. And she clearly is like, oh shit, he likes me. Like, the look on her face when she realizes what he was saying to her is actually kind of wholesome. Because in most shows, it was one or both of the characters wouldn't get it. But she gets it. And I'm extremely impressed by that. I do hope, also, I was saying previously that I think a lot of the cosplays they were doing are from made-up shows. I think some of the cosplays at this event were from actual anime. I didn't really recognize any of them, but I got the feeling, looking at them like, oh, I vaguely recognize this character from something. I just don't know what. So I kind of hope that they actually, give us more recognizable characters. Maybe it's copyright. Maybe they can't do, like, big-name characters because of copyright. But I kind of hope they do something because that would be kind of neat. And I'm actually kind of looking forward to seeing what cosplay she comes up with next. So I do wish the show would pick up the pace slightly, but we've established that they want to kiss each other. We've established that they like each other. And they're starting to really, maybe we do have feelings. So at the very least, this show is moving forward, which, I don't necessarily like slow burn romances, but as long as you get to it at some point, I hope you get to it. Like, don't tell us that, they're going to get together and then wait for the next season, because I would hate that. I'm sorry. It's just, I'm starting to get a little bit tired from this, but I hope at least that this show at least has one of them say, I like you, with the next couple episodes. So, I don't understand why they're in a research lab in Antarctica. I don't, what the fuck, I don't get where, I don't get this. Like, why are they, I know the white-haired kid whose name I don't remember, he's voiced by Akira Ishida, but I don't know his name, but I know his dad, he's like, oh, my dad, owns this. Why are they there? Why? They weren't there the last episode. I can remember the last episode because the last episode they were still in the city, but now they're suddenly like in a research lab in Antarctica. Why? Why are you here? I don't get, like, it feels like they were just contriving a reason to have an ice Digimon that, like, wanted heat. Like, he wanted to suck up all the... Why? Well, admittedly, the bears were cute. Like, all the bear Digimon were cute. But I don't get... Maybe it was just a reason, to have Rory and Jellymon be the heroes. And I genuinely don't know. And I have no idea what this has to do with anything that's gone on before. And it's just... I was honestly bored through this. And I'm just sitting there thinking, Can we get back to the previous plots, because they were far more interesting than this. So, I don't even want to talk about this because it's so idiotic, but we do get something tangible in this episode, but it's basically that literally anybody connected to Yuga won't lose their memories because they, like, know him as a person, or they're, like, deeply connected, but that doesn't make any sense because the other Yuga has the same name, so wouldn't that mean anybody connected to him wouldn't lose their memories because he's also named you? Like, it's so stupid, and I don't get it. I don't like, oh, this is another flavor of the power of friendship. And honestly, I liked the fact that Arc 5 kind of did away with this and was just like, no, if you lose, we will crush you. So you have to win, you have to try, you know. That's one of my favorite things about the villains in Arc 5 is that they don't fuck with you. They will kill you if you get, I loved him. I love Yuri because he just doesn't fuck with you. He will kill you if he gets the chance. And so you actually have to, you know, put in an effort to try, because if you don't try, you will basically, like I said, it never actually says what happens to the people who get carded, but he's carded so many people that, you know, I would imagine some of those people are long dead. Those people, you'll die if you get carded, and if you're in there long enough, I guarantee there's no coming back. So he's literally a serial killer. So if you get, you know, and it's not even just him, it's anybody from academia. If you get carded by them, you are basically dead. So you have to actually put in the effort to try, you know, the effort to win, because otherwise you will be killed. And there's no power of friendship. There's no bullshit. Oh, I trust you. I love you. You know, no, you actually have to play. You actually have to make an effort to play the game and to win, because if you don't win, and Asuka gets thrown back in her face, and that's honestly one of my favorite things about that show. That is literally one of my favorite moments of the show, when he's like, yeah, fuck this, I'm just gonna kill you. And I loved watching her get her ass beat, because that was the worst part of Zale, when, you know, he literally kept trying to befriend. Dude, he was trying to kill you repeatedly, and you kept saying, no, you're still my friend. No, dude, he was trying to kill you. Like, my point is that this power of friendship bullshit has to die. It works in kids shows, but I've always posited that Yu-Gi-Oh is not a kid show. And we're friends, so therefore, you know, we can't lose our memories because he's friends with us and we're so close to him. No, like, fuck that. No, I'm still interested to know if they're gonna go back to whatever Yua was plotting, because they mentioned that once and then they never brought it up again. I hope they do something with it, because at this point in the series is just stalling for time, and I literally just want to get to the new show. So, this episode establishes that Nina and Claire are the same person, but we already knew that. And I still want to know what Nina did to make Carl hate her so much. Like, why does he want revenge on her? Is it just because she killed his parents? I don't know. I don't know why, you know, and the show hasn't really explained it, and I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to be annoyed by this, because why should we care about this when there's no motivation and there's, like, no actual reason for him to be angry with her. I do kind of like the idea that it's becoming clear that these pilots, they have to be ready for a battle they're not ready for. And people keep saying, hey, you know, these are kids. You can't send these kids out in the battle. And other people are like, we don't have a choice in this, you know. This clan, which apparently was not supposed to exist, but I digress on that. You know, they're gonna attack they're going to attack us, and we have to be ready for these people. You know, I know these kids are still, but this is what war is. You got to send in people to fight. It does bother me that we don't know why these pilots, you know, why they're going to war. Why is someone sending these troops out to, you know, attack these? Why? Is it because they want Nina? Is it because they want Carl? We don't know. And the show, we're almost halfway through, and the show hasn't bothered to explain this, and it's starting to bug me. The show isn't explaining a lot of its plot, and it's middling. But I hope something interesting happens, because otherwise, I'm just, you know, it's a 6 at most, you know. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen. I've seen way worse than this, but it's not great.